Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Bella and I am primarily a Sims 4 builder with some bits of gameplay sprinkled in here and there. This build is a build that I did rather quickly back in August, and I thought it'd be a really great representation of where my builds started back when I first started streaming on Twitch. I'd like to think that my building skills have started evolving the more that I build, and hopefully you'll see that as well through the various builds that I'll be posting on this channel. This is the house that I built in Willow Creek on the Crick Cabana lot with a goal of keeping it under 20K. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with a sizable kitchen, dining room, living room, open floor plan, enough for 2 adult Sims and a child or teenage Sim. Roofing is probably one of the things I struggle with the most when building, as you can see by the fact that it's taking me a little bit of time to figure out how I want to roof the house. I knew I wanted a dynamic roof, but figuring out the sizing in addition to making the roof look halfway decent was a bit of a challenge. I did finally decide on a roof style, and now we're moving to the layout of the interior. I rarely build with walls any higher than the lowest wall height, especially when building starter homes. I just think that it makes it too difficult to make the house look nice when on a limited budget. And right here you'll see me trying to figure out the bathroom. I wanted to put in both a shower and a tub, but I didn't want to do a true shower tub combination. I liked the idea of framing the tub, but it didn't look right for this house, so I just left it with a half wall between the shower and the tub for spacing purposes. And, of course, one of the earliest things I did was put in toilet paper. I've been in Tascabaz's community long enough that I understand that forgetting toilet paper is basically a crime, and you deserve any trolling you're about to get because you forgot to put any in. I did go ahead and make the bathroom a little bit smaller, as the size we had it at was a little too large for the size of a house. And you do see me adding in clutter items, but some of them will be removed later on due to lack of funds, even though I really liked how it looked with the clutter items included. Disclaimer: no toilet paper was removed or forgotten in this build. I still have issues figuring out room sizing, especially with double beds. I will either make the bedrooms far too large or far too small. In this case, the second bedroom was too large and the master bedroom was too small. And you can see me adjusting rooms, trying to find a size that was workable and looked somewhat decent. This is definitely the weakest part of the build, in my opinion. I was able to fix the master bedroom size, though, by choosing a vertical dresser instead of a horizontal dresser, and I put the horizontal dresser in the kids/teens room. Once I did that, I went ahead and changed all of the nightstands to match the dresser in the master bedroom for consistency's sake, even though I'm not a big fan of the dresser or those nightstands. They just look too cheap for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but I went for a blue theme in both bedrooms, and you'll see I use blue a lot in my builds, and I'm constantly adjusting items, changing my mind on if I like it or not every couple of seconds. And so now you see we're starting to work on the kitchen. I really struggled with how to craft this layout because I wanted to do the kitchen in this smaller section here and have it wrap around, but it just didn't work out the way that I wanted. So now we're adjusting the walls to make it more of a traditional L-shaped kitchen. Sadly, I was not able to add an island since this is a starter home and we needed room for a moderately sized dining table. And I decided here on a basic table with room for 4 Sims, as you could theoretically just add another bed to the second bedroom if the family living in this house had 2 kids instead of just the 1. Or the second bedroom could be used for roommates, if you wanted to play with roommates instead of a family. I did want to make sure they had enough space, especially as the space required to walk around objects can get super picky within the Sims. I did originally add a back door because I wanted to put in a back deck, but I didn't think that I would have enough money to build one, so I quickly scrapped that idea. And once again, I picked blue items for the living room, and I actually found ones that matched. What a shocker! They're the most basic of basic living room furniture, but apart from a random sore moodlet here and there, my Sims have never complained about them. And it is mandatory for my Sims to have a decent TV, so I added in one that is slightly nicer than the typical 1980s, 1990s box TVs that you'll find in the EA starter homes. And I had realized that I had forgot to put windows in, so I'm testing out the windows with these shutters. They aren't my favorite windows, but they're cheap enough that I could use them to bring in plenty of natural lighting. I use natural lighting in most of my houses, so that means that I don't have to do much more than a handful of the tiny saucer lights. And you can see me adjusting the kitchen to try to make the placement work better. And then I realized that I forgot to go back and fix the roofing. So here we are, fixing the roofing. How the roofs overlap on the edges is something that has always bugged me, and you can see that I'm unsure of what will look best and testing out multiple things. I had also forgotten to put on the roofing trim, so I'm fixing that now. And I did pause at this point and turned my attention to picking out the siding because the roofing was starting to frustrate me to no end. I only adjusted a few more things with the roofing before calling it good enough and moving on. And so the porch is extremely simple, even though it is on the large side. I had the idea that the family would sit out front on the front porch instead of in the backyard or on a back deck. I raised the house a bit as I personally prefer my houses to have a visible foundation. I just think that they look better like that in The Sims. And here I'm picking out basic wood, tile, and stone flooring for the rooms. None of this is fancy. They're all the usual staples that I use in my regular building, with the exception of the porch. It took me a couple of tries to figure out the type of flooring that I was happy with. And inside, the wallpapers are all simple pastel colors, and I figured that whomever's playing in the house can add their own wall decorations. And here I am splurging on upper cabinets, which they sadly do not make it into the final version, but I really, really liked how this kitchen looked. If this was a one-bedroom house, it all would have stayed. Oh well. I did remember to put a trash can though, so small points for that one. And as a personal rule, all of my houses have some kind of skill building items, and in this house I chose to put an easel, so the Sims could attempt to make some money off their paintings, or you can have an artist in the house, whichever works for your gameplay. And I'm noticing that the layout needs some tweaking, so I rotated the table to allow more space for the Sims to sit down, and just made some basic tweaks all over the house. I am also removing some items from the bathroom because I noticed that I was starting to go a little high on my budget. And now we start the landscaping, which is extremely simple due to the cost. I really like putting trees in my front yards, and I'm very partial to using shrubs and flowered bushes to add that extra bit of color, which would also translate to zero maintenance if it were in real life instead of The Sims. I was originally going to use lavender bushes, but once I put down the yellow flowers that you see now, it didn't look right, so I just replaced them with a basic hedge. I did notice a small roofing mistake from earlier, and you'll see me fix that in just a few moments. Like I said, roofing frustrates me to no end. Sadly, at this point, I had checked the cost of the build and realized I was super close to my max budget and started to panic a little bit. I didn't want to adjust the house size too much because of the roofing, but I did start making some adjustments here and there, moving items around in the kitchen, moving nightstands closer to the beds, that sort of thing, just to make it more functional for the Sims that would be living there. Since, a plate on the ground can box them into a corner where they just starve to death. You'll also see me start removing more items that I deemed as extras, which just breaks my heart. It looked so good, and if only I had decided to go for a 30k build instead of a 20k build. Such dreams. So little simoleons. I couldn't help myself though, and I added a plant to the dining room. And you'll also have seen me add another tree to the front yard. But then I started thinking that the house looked too bland on the outside and that we needed window boxes. But those are expensive, so I would have to trade them for other items inside the house. However, my motto has always been, when in doubt, add plants. So add plants I did. Which means goodbye upper cabinets. I had considered a laptop, but then I realized that there were no rugs in the house, which was unacceptable. So I'm doing some trial and error on the rugs. I can never make up my mind on what rugs I like in each room, so you'll see me trying a multitude of different rugs until I finally decide on ones that I like. And now here are some last-minute adjustments to the house, including changing the dining room plant into a coffee table plant and just moving some furniture around, giving it a few tweaks here and there. All in all, I think that this was a decent starter build, especially since it shows kind of where I started in building. This house will also go up on my gallery, and my gallery ID will be linked in the description box below. I upload nearly all of my builds unless I'm using custom content or I absolutely hate the build and I decide to scrap it from the beginning. But thank you guys for watching this video. There will be some screenshots coming up in just a moment. So don't forget to subscribe, click that notification bell so you never miss any of my videos. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and leave me a comment telling me what you liked and what you didn't like about this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!